Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are back doing the 10 Days of Christmas. And today we are doing a tier list. We are bringing it back. I think it's been over a year since we've done one. So I thought what a way to celebrate it being a year by looking back at 1 year of Watchtower propaganda videos and picking out my sort of top 10 or the 10 that I thought of just going through it. Comment down below what your favorite videos or funniest videos or worst videos you thought from Watchtower were this year. And with all that being said, don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's do this.
So when the anointed are called to heaven, one of the first assignments is to fight. Yeah.
So getting things off to a pretty good start, we have Sam Hurd and his infamous, yeah. The memes are good, so that's always a positive, and you always enjoy whenever you can see Watchtower being completely crazy. So just for any of you that don't know, they were saying, hey, when we go to heaven, us and the rest of the 144,000, we are going to actually be hurling fireballs down from the heavens on all the wicked people. So we are getting ready to fight, and he was excited about it. So anytime you can expose the delusion of the governing body and they say something that's truly terrifying, I think that's a pretty good thing. So we're going to have to give this one a solid A tier.
And my mom was able to start regular pioneering at that time. And I remember as a child how different both of my parents were, just in their happiness and in life in general, because she was able to do more for Jehovah.
Nice. How old were you when that happened, when your mom started pioneering and you saw this change?
I was about 9.
Okay. And so when did you start regular pioneering then?
So actually, the next year, my sister and I both got to join her pioneering.
So you were 10 years old.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Thank
10
you.
years old starting pioneering.
Next up, we had the 10-year-old pioneer. Now, whenever I made that video, a lot of people were saying, oh no, you weren't paying attention. She was just pioneering alongside of her mom. But when you watch the clip, it's very clear. She's like, my mom started pioneering and I was able to join her a year later, me and my sister, when she was 10 years old, which I think this is absolutely great, because you had Toni Morris in a more recent talk talking about how they're not wanting to drag children into becoming Jehovah's Witnesses. And earlier in the year, they gave this example, in front of the whole brotherhood of all Jehovah's Witnesses worldwide, of them having a 10-year-old pioneer. How insane is that? Now, just for that fact alone, I would give this an S tier, but upon thinking about it a little bit more, I do think it is incredibly sad and depressing about how they drag young people into it. And the more and more I thought about it, I'm like, well, I know it's kind of funny, but also this is like someone's human life. They're giving, their experience with Watchtower. And it is very, 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 very disheartening whenever you see a situation like this where someone is indoctrinated so young. So it is a little bit shocking and interesting, so we won't give it like the very bottom D tier, so we'll have to bump that up to a C tier.
Hello everyone, Hayley from Junior Design here.
And that's great because it
Can you
goes with
believe
the
her?
outfit that you can wear.
Hayley's business feed.
But what makes this set really special, giving you that
Really? Bad news?
She's a sweetie. Reminds me, I want to speak to her about a necklace.
You too? You don't think she's showing off?
That. Especially as a pioneer. What kind of example is she setting?
Has Emily stopped following her?
No, not yet. But she probably will. Alistair, what do you think?
What about them? Well, do you really think there's something that a pioneer should be posting?
What are you talking about?
Some people might think you're bragging.
Some people? What people? It's a business account. I've got to show off my products.
I know, I get that. It's just, I don't know, it could feel like you're drawing a little too much attention to yourself.
Who would think like that? You?
No, not just me. Celia felt the same.
You spoke to Celia about this?
I didn't want to upset you. Jake said that I needed
Jake
to say...
said everyone thinks my posts are inappropriate.
Not everyone, Haley. That's not what I'm saying at all.
You are such...
You're such a gossip. I'm not gossiping. I'm just trying to help you. If you would just listen to me. You're just jealous.
Listen to me.
Oh, yeah, listen to this.
And I expected more from you.
Haley, what's she talking about?
Gossiping about my posts. Are you that lonely that you've got nothing better to do?
Now, this whole saga, for those of you that remember, was extremely entertaining, and this was shown during the old convention crusade. So what happened was someone has a business account where they make necklaces and beauty products, and when someone was seeing them promote that online, they were like getting all up in their business for no justifiable reason whatsoever, and yet Watchtower somehow was able to spin this as if this person that was just being annoying, gossiping behind someone's back, that they were the one, like, sort of in the right. It was so weird and bizarre, and because it wasn't like actual people involved here, like a real story, I think that made it a little bit funnier, and it was a good representation of what it's like to be a Jehovah's Witness. Everyone is judging you all of the time about literally the dumbest things you can possibly think of. So a good quality video overall. I think Watchtower tried to step up the production a little bit, and we did get the classic scene of her slamming the door saying, "You are such a bitch!" So that was pretty funny. I'll just give it a B tier for that because it kind of ticks all the boxes, but it does give you that sort of like feeling of reminding you of what it was like being one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
I know, but it's all about good spiritual judgment. Do you think that these trends reflect Jehovah's view of respectable dress? I know that you'll do the right thing.
Ah yes, the curious case of the ripped jeans. Why was Watchtower using this as an example of bad taste or poor choices of dress and grooming for young people? That she was wearing leggings underneath these jeans, like nothing's showing, nothing's revealing, they're baggy. I couldn't get my head around it. It was so crazy. And just this whole entire series, if we want to think about that, with the step family and how they were having the bad family worships and how her mom was just a total ass all of the time and just being super disrespectful and then using the Bible to be disrespectful. It was a wild time. Again, it's a made-up story. I have to give this one an A tier though, because the ripped jeans absolutely were so funny to me because Watchtower's like not even using a good example of poor dress and grooming. Like before you would think they would like, oh, you're wearing something revealing, but they're just holes in your jeans. It was so bizarre. Anyway, so yeah, we'll give that one a solid A tier.
In the New World, abundant, healthy food will be more than a promise. It will be a reality. Reminds us that Jehovah will give us a physical place to call home in the new world. Imagine the peace that will reign in God's new world. Reminds us that perfect physical and mental health await us in paradise. Imagine waking every day Indeed, God will swallow up death forever.
I thought the Visions of Paradise series during the convention was one of the best things Watchtower has ever done. They took this absurd concept of the Paradise Earth and they tried to make it like real by doing it on a film. And it just is really silly because it leads to all of these other questions like, well, where does this material come from? And where does this come from? And where does this... It was so funny seeing them actually try and be like, yeah, this is how it's going to look. And the tan pants. The tan pants were out of control. It was like 9 out of 10 guys were all wearing the exact same tan pants. It was absolutely hilarious and a well-deserved S tier, our first S tier of the day. And yeah, I really like the Visions of Paradise series. I hope they bring it back and just give us some more absurdities in next year's convention. Ooh, actually, you know what would be huge? Instead of this, like actual Visions of Armageddon, where they show like Stephen Lett and Tony Morris like in a cloud, like digitized, like shooting lasers out of their hand like it's Dragon Ball Z. How great would that be?
With the city, she was able to get a schedule that allowed her to focus on her ministry. And we came home and sat down, getting ready to fix us a bite of lunch. And I got a phone call. It was a family member, and they were asking me if I had saw the news. And because of that amount of people, the venue that they decided upon, it was the Opera House in Norfolk. The brothers, they got everything together. The city didn't really have to do anything. They just gave us the venue. And what really impressed them, the city, was that the whole memorial, everything took place within an hour. The city officials were there in attendance. You had the local newspapers who covered it, reporters.
I think we all know where this video is going to go. It was absolutely appalling that Watchtower would use this in one of their propaganda videos. So this is a D tier, the worst of the worst. It's absolutely horrible how they will use anything in order for self-promotion. And the thing that really bugged me about it was the fact that they sent a Watchtower representative in order to handle the media surrounding the situation. And I just thought they have no taste or class. Ordinary Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, that you pass away or meet with some sort of tragic accident or die, they're not getting Watchtower representatives to come and give their memorial talk. They won't even really care or think too much about them. And yet, whenever they had an opportunity to say, hey, look, we can use this for good PR, let's fly Ralph Wallace down there so that way we have some branch representatives there to handle the PR. And I just think it's so disturbing that they use that as an opportunity to promote themselves and to use it as like a good witness when that's not the point. The point is, you know, comforting those that have lost someone dear to them and celebrating the life of that person and, you know, what they meant and remembering them. And that's what it should be about. But no, Watchtower has to come through with their greedy little fingers and make it all about them. So absolute D tier. Maybe we should make a new one and call it F tier. I'm too lazy to do that. But yeah, absolutely horrible. We'll leave that one a D tier by itself.
Exactly.
Oh, this is my song.
Mine too.
You have a treasured place in Jehovah's house. He will help you out.
Now I know I have two from the exact same series, but come on guys. Could we leave this one out? The singing out in service car scene was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was so corny and so cheesy. And it's like, this has never happened. And if it does happen, there's one person sitting there like, oh my God, why is this person blasting this music? This is so cringe. Oh, I absolutely enjoyed this so much. I don't think it's quite an S tier because, you know, it's not all that interesting or impactful. It's just really funny. So we'll give it a good A tier.
And this world's media is very skillful at presenting something bad as good. For example, in a movie, a female character might be portrayed as having a husband who is abusive. You like the woman, and you want her to find happiness. Then a handsome man starts working in her office, and he's so nice to her. There's an attraction between them, and the budding romance is presented as something good. Soft background music makes it hard to consider her course to be bad. It's easy to keep watching and hope she leaves her marriage mate and runs off with her workmate. And usually that's what happens.
And I thought that we would only have one D tier, but this absolutely belongs in rock bottom. It is so horrific to think that this man, who is seen as a spokesperson for God, as a source of true and reliable and trustworthy information, is contextualizing someone that leaves an abusive relationship to find a meaningful, respectful relationship where both people love and care about each other as a bad thing. How do you say that that is a bad thing when someone leaves their husband who's abusing them and finds someone that treats them nice and they both love each other and they ride off into the sunset and live a happy life? How do you say that's bad? What is wrong with this man? I found this to be one of the most disgusting talks of the entire year. So yeah, absolutely rock bottom D tier.
Where's the Jade that questioned everything?
So then she pulls out her phone and starts showing me stuff about witnesses.
What kind of stuff?
News stories, all negative and slanted. I tried to change the subject, but she just kept at it.
See you later, girls.
Oh,
Bye,
bye.
Keisha.
Mum, I want us to get together, but I won't hear anything negative about my beliefs.
Well, perhaps we just won't talk religion.
It's a deal then?
All right then. I can see I'm not going to get anywhere. So what subject do you want to talk about?
This one was pretty interesting because obviously, if you guys remember, I'm sure you guys watched it, but the mom was trying to show her daughter some information from news sources that were negative against Watchtower. And Watchtower basically said that Jade did a good job by sticking her fingers in her ear and saying la 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 la. Like that was how you are supposed to respond when you hear anything negative about God's organization. And this is just a reality of being a Jehovah's Witness nowadays because they don't want to hear anything contrary to what the governing body says. So I think this one is a C tier for obvious reasons. It's not quite as bad as those other ones, but it is pretty bad.
Now, if we think about it, we're not born as friends of God because we're born as sinful offspring of Adam. Actually, if we think about it, we're born as enemies of God. Sometimes you'll hear people say of a little baby, "Look at that little angel." But more accurate would be to say, "Look at that little enemy of God."
And you know which one. You always knew what was going to be the top of S tier. Just the memes alone and how many jokes came about from it. You should look at babies as little enemies of God? What are you saying, Stephen Lett? You look like such a goober. No one looks at an innocent baby and says, "Hey, stupid little enemy of God, I gotta change you and get you to follow me." Like, you're acting like an actual sociopath here. It's just a total...
Stop it. Get some help.
Moment for this guy. You need help. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for another day of the 10 Days of JW Thoughts Christmas. Don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more further content like this. And I will see you tomorrow. I guess unless this is the last one, then that would be kind of awkward.